'Tis the season for lots of preservation projects. This is over 50 pounds of food and there's a few other things that I'm going to pull out over the next, well, how many of our days? I'm figuring 5 or 6 days, maybe less, because some things I can do pretty quickly all at once. So we have 2 pretty full boxes of cherry tomatoes. We weighed the cherry tomatoes, and the box right here is over 10 pounds. And the box back there is between 5 and 6 pounds. So that's a lot. Now, I did not grow all this food. The majority of it came from the grocery store and local farmers. But it doesn't matter where the food comes from. It matters what you do with it and how you keep it so that it doesn't go to waste. So let's get going, and I will talk you through what I'm going to do with each thing. Welcome back to Barclay Homestead. I'm Martha, and this is my kitchen. And as I just showed you a few minutes ago, we're going to go ahead and get some food preservation done. I don't know if it'll all happen in one day. It is the Every Bit Counts challenge, so if it has to happen over several days, but some of this is getting to the point where it needs to be done very, very soon. So the first project we're going to go ahead and work on is the broccoli and cauliflower. I just need to get it washed, get my cutting board out, get our bags ready, and then we'll get going. And I'll tell you what I'm planning on doing with all of it once I get all that done. All right, I'm all ready. And right here, I don't know if you can see it, let me move it over. I have some cookie sheets lined with parchment paper. These are not getting baked or anything like that. I'm going to break them down into smaller pieces, and then I'm going to flash freeze them, which just means you put them in the freezer without anything over them, and you let them freeze for like an hour, and then you can put them into freezer bags. For the cauliflower, I did go ahead and blanch that, which just means boiling water, a couple of minutes, out and cooled off. I just drop the whole heads in there. That's how I do it. I don't know. Some people probably won't agree with it, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to break them down into nice sized pieces. I'm also going to take the carrots that you seen in the video a little earlier, and I'm going to cut them down, and I'm going to put some just broccoli, just cauliflower, just carrots in some freezer bags, and then I'm going to do a California medley style where you have all 3 together. We love those for stir fry and whatever, just to steam them. I'm also going to save some broccoli and cauliflower and carrots out for fresh eating in the fridge. It's not hard at all. Just break it down into the size that you typically use. I love having convenient vegetables in the freezer. The only thing is when you buy broccoli, especially from the store, frozen broccoli, it can have a lot of stems in it, and I hate that, because I mean, if we wanted to eat the stems, we'd eat the stems, but when you cut up broccoli, do you put the stems in your meal? Most of the time we don't, but it's mostly stems and very few florets, so I don't want to pay big money for stems. It's something that bugs me a lot, but that's why I do what I do, so I can control the food that is in the house and what we choose to spend our money on. It's definitely not the easiest way to go, but I wouldn't change it for anything, you know. Having food that, now yes, the produce, some of it came from the grocery store. You gotta do what you gotta do. Right now, in where I live, you could not grow broccoli. It's hot as heck, and it would not taste good. And I've tried to grow broccoli here. There's so many pests, it's hard. So I don't have broccoli here, and nobody locally is growing broccoli right now, so we like it. And I know eat seasonally, but you also have to be realistic with yourself, and it's okay to be realistic. And the negative people that say, oh, well, you're supposed to XYZ, just put them in the who gives a crap category and just move on with your life, and you do you, and ignore the negative people. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one who has to feed your family. You're the one who has to decide where the money in your budget goes. So you might as well live by your own rules. Sorry, that was a little aggressive there with the knife. Alrighty, well, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me cut up all this broccoli. I am going to go ahead and finish cutting it up, and I will meet back up with you in a minute. Alright, on to the cauliflower. Not complicated at all, just gonna cut it down into florets just like we did the broccoli. Gonna de-stem it. Cauliflower is something else that is really hard to grow here. You couldn't grow it this time of year at all, of course, because it's a brassica and it doesn't grow in this season, especially in the south. Oh, I forgot to bring over a garbage bowl. Number one thing in the kitchen, garbage bowl or compost bowl or whatever you want to call it. It's definitely going to the compost. So now we can just pull the stem out. I can see this happens a lot here. You get little spots on the cauliflower, but they come off really easy. I can even scrape it off with my finger. So I'm just going to cut anything off that doesn't look appetizing, and then we're going to flash freeze this just like I am doing with the broccoli that's already in the freezer. Oh, there's a little bit of blemish there. That's easily cut out. I mostly cut the stems off anyway. Again, I have my cookie sheet. Cauliflower is the only one that I will blanch. I don't really like how it freezes if you don't blanch it. I guess it's that enzyme. It just doesn't stay as good for as long. And you pull it out and it's sort of kind of black and it doesn't taste good at all. So definitely I would recommend to just real quickly blanch it. It doesn't take long, and then you just let it cool so then you can touch it, or you can cut it apart and blanch it. The only thing is when I cut it apart and blanched it, for me, it cooked really fast. And I didn't want it fully cooked. So the last two times I've just dropped the whole head into the pot. Again, I don't know, people are probably not going to agree with that, but that's fine. This is my kitchen, and that's what works for me. Alrighty. For the carrots, I pulled out my chopper for a second. My brain went blank, so I'm just going to peel them and cut them into choppable pieces and put them through the chopper. For me, it's just the easiest way to go about it. I've got my dicer attachment in there. I had my slicer attachment, but I found it really hard to get the carrots through, especially the larger pieces of carrot. I'm just going to cut them so there's a flat surface. Pop it in here and it's scare the crap out of the cats, so they make a big old mess. Alrighty, I think I might have to do this off camera because it's really making them run around. It's kind of loud, like a big thud. He thinks the house is coming down. I will link my chopper down below. That's the number one question I get is where I got this chopper, because it's got the nice big bowl on the bottom. So that's pretty straightforward. And it gives me dices, nice uniform sizes. And it's a lot less work and it goes a lot faster, and I can chop this whole bag of carrots that, well, the ones I'm going to freeze, of course, and some I'll freeze in sticks as well. Something I struggle with during harvest season is what's for dinner. So earlier you see me chop up all these vegetables for freezing, and I saved some out for fresh eating. But instead, we're going to turn them into a quick sheet pan dinner with some potato wedges that I had done in a freezer meal video a while back. And then we will figure out the meat real quick. And there's dinner. So that way we get fed and the food is getting taken care of so it doesn't go bad on us. It is hard to balance it all sometimes, but it just takes practice. I suffer from the inability to have my brain in two places at once sometimes, or maybe it's that it's in too many places at once. I'm not sure. But it's just the two of us, or well, we'll have the third one later, so I guess we better make enough for the three of us. We'll just throw them all on there. We're going to coat them with some olive oil, and these wedges are already pre-cooked, but they're fully frozen, so by the time the vegetables are done, so will the potato wedges be. Alrighty. And those wedges are fully seasoned and just as good, or probably, in my opinion, better than the pre-made ones you buy at the store, because they have the flavors that we like. All right, I'm gonna just season these with some Mrs. Dash. Alrighty, and in the oven they go, and then we will, while these are roasting off for supper, we will package up the vegetables. Alright, I went ahead and vacuum sealed all the veggies, and I did some just broccoli and cauliflower, a few just broccoli by themselves. I did the California medley style, whatever you want to call it, with the broccoli, the cauliflower, and the carrots. I did some roast carrots. Now all I'm going to do is just label them and throw them in the freezer. Just going to put on the date, which today is the 14th, and what they are. Alright, I gotta work fast. I don't want these to thaw out. Okay. And of course you could have labeled these before you vacuum sealed it, which would have probably been smarter and made it easier, but I didn't think ahead, and plus I didn't know how many was going to fit in how many bags. But if you were better at figuring those things out than me, you could do that ahead of time. All right, I'm just going to finish these and I will see you next time we are preserving. All right, it is the next day. I'm going to go ahead and start with something I can get knocked out of the way real quick because I've got to do a lot today. I want the weekend off so I can spend it with my family. So in order to do that, I need to knock out all of this preservation today and tomorrow. So I'm going to do the bananas. I've already marked my bags. I have 4 ripe bananas, so I'm going to do 2 in each bag and throw them in the freezer for banana bread, banana baked oatmeal, whatever. Easy peasy. And this one will be done in just a few seconds. And that way I can, anytime we want banana muffins or banana bread or whatever, I can just pull these out of the freezer and thaw them out overnight, and the next day I can make the recipe I want. Or if I really am in a hurry, I can thaw them out in the microwave. And they'll be nice and soft. You don't even really have to mush them at that point. They're pretty mushy. Oh, excuse me. All right, I'm going to go wash my hands real quick, and we're going to pop these in the freezer and move on to the next thing. So yesterday when I started this video, I had about 15 pounds of cherry tomatoes and some other various tomatoes, and today or yesterday, I late in the evening, I went out and picked another 5 pounds. So now we have about 20 pounds of cherry tomatoes, and I was thinking about what I want to do with them. At first I was thinking salsa, but now I'm thinking sauce. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to rinse them up and think on it. I'd really like something that I could do real fast so that I can not have to spend a lot of time on it. If I do sauce, they can cook down and while I'm doing some other things. So be back with you on that in a second. So I decided to go ahead and just puree all of those cherry tomatoes and turn them into sauce, because I looked at my jars and I definitely need some more jars of sauce. So I'm just going to let this cook down while I process everything else, and then later this afternoon I will jar it up and can it.